Hold on. Just cutting her off.
Well, she's going to sit in a second.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, so now we're live.
Okay.
We've gone live.
Hello, Facebook family. Okay. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so welcome everyone to Books and Books here at the Adrienne R. Center. I'm Kimmy B, so I'm a radio personality. I'm a New Hits 97th Radio Afternoon Drive. I have not known our fabulous guest of honor today for very long, but having read her book, let me just tell you, we are all in the presence of greatness. So without further ado, welcome to the official release and signing for Game On by Nicole R. Smith. Nicole, come on down.
Thank you. That was a lovely introduction. I love it.
So, I don't know if everybody has this. Has anybody else here, aside from me, actually read Game On yet? I know. Oh, yes, raise the hand. Okay. So, I got through it yesterday at the hair salon. And again, like I said, I feel like I know Nicole that much better now. And that's really a gift, right? When you can put into, I don't know, 100 pages.
Yeah.
So much of yourself that you walk away feeling like, wow, not only is this woman an inspiration, but she's definitely somebody that I would turn to for advice and for some guidance, which is really what your reason for writing Game On was. So with that said, I know, Nicole, you can give us the best kind of insight for those of us who haven't read the book. Maybe in 60 seconds, give us a little, synopsis, a little cliff notes, if you would, of what Game On is all about.
So basically, Game On is about relentlessly pursuing your dreams and setting a goal and overcoming any challenge that you have to, and overcoming any challenges that you're going to come across in order to see it happen. Because when you set a goal, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. That's the first chapter of the book. It's like life is not fair. So if you think life is going to be fair, you're already having an issue trying to overcome anything because life is not fair. You're going to get things thrown towards you. But it's like, what do you do with that? Do you overcome? Do you rise above the challenge and overcome? Or do you kind of just settle back and be like, oh, well, life is not fair. I'm not going to be able to do it? Because a lot of these people who have been very successful in life, who have done a lot of things, they've had challenges thrown at them too. They've lost loved ones. They've gone through things. Everybody has something. But if we just sit back and rely on just like almost like our self-pity, having a pity party of, oh, I can't do it because, then that's the difference between those who make it and those who don't. So I wrote this passionately because I just have been around a lot of people who, especially when going through like auditions over and over again and getting rejected, and a lot of people will leave and they'll feel very upset and very frustrated, like, oh, I'm quitting, I'm not doing this. And I was like, but you got one no, or you got two no's, or three no's. Like that's nothing. Like two negatives make a positive, so two no's should at least keep you going. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's just like that no should not. If that no is all it takes, then do you deserve the success? If that one no is all it's going to take to keep you, then maybe you don't really want it that bad. And so it's just one of those things that I just want to encourage people. Just if it's something that you want that bad, just keep getting back up. Just keep getting back up. It's like round 10 in the boxing match, and you're down for the count. I'm at the point I got knocked down so many times that I started I kind of like the count, right? Because at first you're like, oh, you get knocked down, you got to jump back up. Now I'm like, I got 9 seconds to lay here, all right? I got 9 seconds to lay here, soak it up a little bit, 8, 8.5, 9, and I know I have to get up at 10, but I'm still getting up no matter what.
Well, speaking of getting up, no matter what, if you haven't read the book, our friend Nicole here, aside from being amazing at her job at the Art Center, definitely has a passion of her own, and that is cheerleading for, a professional or semi-pro sports team. She has tried out 20 times for 11 different teams in 3 or 4 different cities.
Yep.
I mean, the girl moved. She moved so she could be a cheerleader. That is, talk about pursuing your passions relentlessly.
Right.
And you've heard no how many of those times?
Let me see, about 16. And you have to understand that every time you try out for a team, it's like it's an annual thing. It's a once-a-year thing. It's not like, oh, you can try out 3 or 4 times in a year. So that's like 2 decades of auditioning, and being told no multiple times, being told no at least 16 times. But guess what? I was told yes 4, and those are magical. And I have dreams and friends and my life has changed because of those 4 yeses, but it took 16 no's to get them.
Yeah. Well, can we have a little round of applause for the 4 yeses that we did get? And like I said, I'm okay with rejection. I don't know about that much rejection. I mean, so like I said, reading this book, I was like, okay, Kim, keep it in perspective, girl. Like,
So I like to tell people I'm a professional rejectee. You know, I've been rejected so many times. I've got it down to a science now. You know, like the first time it happened, I was like, oh my God, I'm never gonna live. I cried and like I didn't eat for. Well, I know actually I ate everything I wanted for 3 weeks. I didn't care what it was. Forget the diet. I'm eating whatever I want. And then, but the more and more it happened, it got easier to swallow. I got better. I learned more about myself. I was able to anticipate what I could look for to maybe not make it. If the no was this for this reason this time, well, it's not going to be no for that this time. If they're going to tell me no, it's going to be for something else. So I got good at being rejected. I mean, nobody likes it. I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you, oh, reject me all day. I'm not going to tell you that. But with every one, it's made me better. It's propelled me to another level.
but so how do you encourage people? And with that being said, because not everybody is good at processing the no, right? I mean, I don't know. Nicole seems like she's cut from a different cloth because criticism is not easy for most people, right? I mean, I know I'm a perfectionist and I tell everybody all the time, I wear it on my face. So when my bosses come to me, I talk on the radio, you know, we get rated because I'm rated for a living. So trust me, I understand all of those things.
Yeah.
And I'm the worst when it comes to taking criticism. But I hear it like, so I may screw my face up at you, like that's the joke is that it's, you know, some people wear it on their sleeve. I wear my emotions right here. That's the reason why I wear very large sunglasses most of the time. But I say that because I do take the criticism to heart because I'm a perfectionist on top of that. So it's like, it just plays over and over and over and over again in my mind. So I too, like you, I think can relate to the fact that you're never gonna have to tell me the same thing twice.
Right.
Like you're never gonna have to correct me on doing something numerous, because otherwise what am I not hearing?
Right.
But for those people that aren't necessarily good at taking the criticism, what are some tools that you have for them, you know, where they can take the negative and turn it into a positive?
Right. Well, I think one of the most important things, like you said, was not to take it personal. You can't take it personal. People are going to give you different reasons, and it's also very subjective. I had somebody tell me, you know, before you get ready for your next audition, make sure you shave your mustache. I was like, what? I didn't even know I had one. But you know, but it was like, okay. So I think the most important thing is definitely not taking it personal and literally taking it and seeing, okay, what are they really trying to say here? What can I grab out of it that's going to help me and take it and turn around and make it a positive? Otherwise, you're gonna get hit. I mean, for goodness sake, especially in the cheerleading arena, you're literally being judged. Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
They're looking for those things that are going to it's not gonna like cutting the mold for what they need. So, which is fine. But that just because, and this works across the board, it's not just cheerleading, it could be a job, it could be like going into the military, whatever it is. Just because it doesn't work for them doesn't mean it's not going to work for somebody else. So a lot of those things, I couldn't take it personal because it could have been, maybe that's just not what they needed for them, but maybe it would work for another team. So just taking out of it what they were talking about. So the whole mustache thing, I was like, hey, now I know. And now I have a choice. Do I want to like wax or not, you know? But I just took it with a grain of salt. I mean, what am I going to do, you know?
Well, I love that you pointed out the fact that, you know, whether it's cheer, it's just the arena of life. We're judged. That's just the nature of living. And especially, I think, for women, sorry, fellas at the table. Hey, Andrew. Nice to see you. You know, I think cheerleading just puts it on Front Street. You kind of expect it. You know what's going to happen when you walk into a room and you're auditioning for the Miami Dolphins cheerleading squad or the Miami Heat dancers. But it's no different when you walk into a boardroom or you walk into an interview room. They're judging your academic background. They're judging your past job performance. It's just judgment is a part of life. And I think the sooner we all kind of learn to accept that and to make the most out of the negatives. And that brings me to my next point. Towards the end of the book, you start to talk about leading with your positives. Like,
yes.
Stop focusing so much on what you don't have, right? Maybe you don't have the doctoral degree. Maybe you don't have 36-inch legs and you want to be a supermodel. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe you don't have the finances, but stop focusing on the things that you don't have and lead with the things that you do.
Right, exactly. So even in kind of what you're just saying, everything that I've learned in cheerleading, I apply it to the rest of my life now. Going into a job interview, going into those things. There's sometimes you're like, oh, I may not have the same degree or the same experience that somebody who's applying for the same thing has. But what I do have is this. These are the things I learn quickly. I can type super fast. I can, whatever it is. I had to start learning to realize that a lot of times they're not always looking for something that's cookie cutter. Some of those things can be taught. Work ethic isn't something that can be taught. Those are things that if you have them, I know people, they would rather have somebody. As a matter of fact, the first team that I made, I think I'm giving away too much of the book, but the first team that I made, it wasn't because of my talent. Let's just put it that way. It was something else that they saw in me. So all of those things that you said, like a lot of that stuff, like learning how to carry myself, learning how to walk into a room and act like you know you are the best thing in the room regardless, whether it's for an interview, whether it's for anything. I learned all of that through this audition rejection process over and over and over. Those are the things that I learned from it. And I've taken it and just transformed it and using it for me as something to give back or to help me when I'm going into these things, because these situations are crazy, you know, and it's just like, you know, I mean, a lot of times when people hear a lot of things, first of all, they're like, why professional cheerleading and all these kind of things. Read the book, you'll find out. Also, but like, a lot of the stuff that they teach you in cheerleading, like, it crosses platforms. They teach you how to carry yourself, how to speak well, how to answer weird questions in a moment's notice. I mean, it's this learning those tasks and those skills, because yes, it's difficult to make a professional cheerleading team, but have you ever tried to apply for one position at a position that's opening? Ask like our HR people, one position will get posted and they get 10,000 resumes. The odds of that are much more difficult than, they take 40 people on a team, 20 to 40 depending. Going for that job interview, the odds are 10 times worse. So people talk about, oh, it's hard to make a cheerleading team. It's hard to get. It's hard to fight to get that job, but you have to lead with what you have. So a lot of times girls, and I relate to the cheerleading a lot because I learned so much, but girls will walk in and be like, oh, I don't have my kicks, or I don't have my splits, or I don't have this, or I don't have that. That's okay. Because the same reason that I've seen girls that they thought that's why they didn't make the team, somebody else made the team for those same things. And it's like they'll say, if you don't have it for this, we can work with you on that. Or if you don't have this, we can work with you on that. So forget what you don't have. If you have Colgate teeth, work it. That's what I would do. I would like, I may not be able to do that splits, but you can see my smile from the top of from the risers, you know. Use what you have. Because they'll be like, oh, she may not have that, but we can work with that, but we like that. And we need that element. That element is what's missing from our team.
You know, in reading the book, Nicole, there were so many, I think, really critical moments, and I think there's so much wisdom in here. I told Nicole I think there's like 6 other books that she could write, you know. I mean, when she talks about divorce, she talks about losing a loved one, she talks about being a single parent. Again, I think this is a great jumping off point, and it kind of gives me the feeling that it would start it off as maybe cathartic for you, getting it all out there, sharing your experience. You know, it's journaling, it's keeping a diary, it's voice notes nowadays, whatever it is that you use to kind of keep track of your life. But it's definitely grown into something else. You've now, I feel like, found a new passion. And you talk about being a cheerleader like IRL, in real life. That's just who you are. It's much bigger than just for a sports team. It's really in your nature. And if you know Nicole at all, I think, again, like I said, within the first 35 seconds of meeting her, not that long ago at the Arts Launch 2018, right here at the Arts Center, you can feel that. There's this genuine interest in other people that she just kind of exudes, and this want and this will to see you succeed. And that is such a rare gift. And I really do think that you found your next passion in life. I'm not saying don't try out anymore for the Miami Dolphins cheerleaders, because girl, I will be at game one when they finally decide to give you a uniform. But talk a little bit about Game On, 365, and what is next, and the real purpose
Right.
for this book now being in existence and where we're going from here.
Right, so the whole book really did come from my desire to really want to help people. And one of those things that comes naturally for me that I just thought it was something that everybody did was setting a goal, sticking to the plan, seeing it happen. Bam, bam, bam. I'm just used to doing it. Bam, 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 bam. But as going along and like working with people and being around, and I realized that I'm a really good accountability partner to myself. I'm very good at, if I know I have to get up and go run, I'm gonna get up and go run. I don't really need somebody to stay on top of me. Because it's just who I am. But a lot of people, I realize, need that accountability. And so I realized that's my talent, that's my gift. Like, I can help hold people accountable, not in a bad way, but just like, hey, this is the goal, this is where you wanted to get. What did you do today to get there? What is one thing that you did today to try to get to the end goal? Is it, if you want to start a business, and you don't know how to do it? Okay, so the first thing is research it. Start researching, and then and what I found is once you take that step, once you take that first step, everything will start coming together. Don't worry about the end product. Just make that first step. Sometimes it's just telling somebody. Sometimes it's just doing that research. Things will just start falling in place. So the whole purpose behind Game Day Prep 365 is to help you get to where you want to go. I have the privilege of working with the Palm Beach Makos cheerleaders. Cheer, yay! A lot of them, we've shared the dream of becoming a professional cheerleader. So what I did with them is I sat them down and I was like, okay, this is what it is. The whole workbook, it's in the back, it's part of the book. Honestly, the book is like a super easy read, I'm telling you. One day at the salon, I think it's 90 pages including the workbook. So it's a very easy read, okay? So you can knock it out very thin, no need to be intimidated by it. One plane ride, one good bathroom trip, whatever. You'll knock it out. But the whole reason was I wanted to just give people to say, hey, I am here for you. I'm here to cheer you on. What do you need? How do you need the help? Because I found that a lot of times when people are setting their goals, they set them so big and so grand that they scare the crap out of themselves and then they don't want to do it anymore. But it's about taking those little steps, baby steps, here, and for me to cheer along. So it's funny. And it kind of ties in, it talks about in the book where, my thing is to be a cheerleader, but just by nature, I'm just like, hey, if you're going to do it, I'm here for you. What are you going to do? This is one of my beautiful friends right here. She's been my accountability partner, but she's also we've been it for each other. So I was writing my book. She's like, oh, I'm writing a book too. I was like, oh, okay, where are you? Where are yours? Where are you? And it just being able to feed off of each other. And there's nothing like that, because that day when you don't feel like writing and you don't feel like getting out of the book, sometimes it's just that phone call, that something, that note, that text from somebody that's just like, hey, what did you do today? It's all you need. It's all that it takes. And I realized that that's coming through all of these things, that's something that I'm good at, and I want to help other people, because I just thought, you set a goal, you come up with a timeline, you do it. And I realized that a lot of people, it doesn't come that easy to them. Sometimes setting goals and going after it comes as easy to them as it is for me, to do numbers in accounting. Oh my God, no. That's just definitely not my wheelhouse. So I was like, well, then I want to be here to help. I want to leave my legacy. I don't want this life to be about me. This isn't about me. It's about making it and taking as many people with me as I can. Let's all go. Let's all do it. We're all in this together. So I have a kid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It comes out. But that's just where the passion of it came from. It's just, if you need help, because setting the goal is easy. Sticking to it is a whole different story. And that's why in New Year's, day one, yes, I'm gonna. Day two, we're good. But it's and a lot of times, and another reason why I wrote this book, it's that in between, because you always hear about people who set the goal and then, oh, they made it. But you never really hear much about what's going on in the team. For trying out for Dolphins, I'm still in the in-between. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still going through, but my goal is to either make it or at least get into the record books for the most time trying, whatever it is, I'm gonna keep going until for whatever reason I really just physically can't. But I'm not gonna stop. And sometimes I kick myself for saying that because I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to do it anymore. Because now I'm embarrassed. Because like now I'm 43. They've seen me like all these times. They probably like, oh Lord, here she come again. You know, and I'm like, I don't want to show up again because that was embarrassing. Now I'm embarrassed. Okay, they're like, if they ain't taking me now, are they ever going to? But I feel like I owe it to myself, and until I have a real reason why I can't go, I'm gonna keep showing up. So that's how I'm able to encourage the girls who are still going. I'm like, I'm still going. I haven't stopped yet, and I'm gonna keep going. So this is like that in between. It's not the, oh, I've made it. It's the, hey, I'm still on the journey. What is your journey? I will cheer you on while you're doing yours, but I'm still doing mine. And it's not easy. It's not, because there's many times where I literally am just like, why am I doing this? Oh my God, oh my God. I walk in and that literally the last audition that I went to, they're like, did you bring your daughter? You guys should audition together. They see me so much that they know how old she is, that now she can audition with me. They're like, oh, next time bring your daughter. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm doing it so much and now they're like, bring your kid with you, bring your 21-year-old. I mean, like, who says that? So it's not easy. It's not easy. I'm sorry.
No.
I got carried away.
No. It's about you. You don't have to apologize. Like I said, clearly we can all see where the energy to audition 20 times came from. And just so you know, no one is like you, Nicole. I think we can all agree on that one. I mean, I was reading the book and I was like, damn. Like, I got in my feelings, and Nicole and I were talking about this, and I think it is a really common story, and you couldn't be more right about the fact that we never hear the in-between. And I've had a ton of artists tell me over the years during interviews, yeah, I'm a 20-year overnight success.
Right.
Or you didn't see me when I was picking the silverware out of, the trash at Mandalay Bay, because that was my job. That was Flo Rocket, by the way. That was Flo's story. He literally used to pick the silverware out of the buffet line trash. Like, that was one of his jobs, right? So with that being said, to share something like this, and I think for, the everyday person on their journey, some of us don't even know what our passion or our purpose is, or we think that that's a crazy idea. Why should I waste my time pursuing that? Let me be safe. Let me go take this job that's going to give me benefits or the 401k, whatever it is. And there's nothing wrong with any of that, but you truly won't be living until you are walking in your purpose. And that was what I got to by the end of this book. Well, actually, probably on page 2 of this book. And then it was just a whole lot more of that encouragement throughout the way. But you definitely, again, found a new calling, Nicole, and I think that you will inspire a lot of people. And like I said, I think there's a whole lot more books in this one little book here. If you haven't read it, you have to. Literally, I read it at the salon yesterday, guys. So there's absolutely no excuse. And the workbook in the back was phenomenal. And it is, I think, a lot of things that we take for granted, whether it's seeing the end result, envisioning it. Like, I'm sure you can see yourself in that Miami Dolphins cheerleader uniform. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You know exactly how you're going to look in it. You know exactly what your walk is going to be like.
Yes, girl, I got the walk down. What?
But that's a big part of it. So I think the steps in the back of the book are fantastic. And it is about having an accountability partner. And a lot of us don't have friends that have the time, or we feel silly sometimes sharing our ideas because of that judgment factor that you talk about throughout the book. So to have somebody, it's like therapy. You know what I mean? Like, we pay somebody to listen to us because they're not involved in our life, right? They have no real judgment on it. And it's like, for Nicole, you're that person, you're unbiased. Your only stake in our life or in my life is to see me succeed.
Right.
And that's a really fantastic place to be.
And one of the things that I talk about that's very important to me are the excuses that we make, because everybody will come up with an excuse. And then they convince themselves that it's a valid reason. So in the workbook, it's one of those things that I'm like, guys, one of the biggest things I hear all the time is, oh, I don't have time. We all have the same amount of time. People are getting it done. It's a matter of, are you going to make the time? This book, this whole thing was produced between like 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. for the last 10 months. So I would go into an amazing job at the Art Center because I absolutely love it. And then I would come home and I would hit this. And I didn't even know there was such a thing as a late show. I would be like, oh, it's time for me to go to bed, and I would turn on the TV just for background noise, and it was like late. I was like, what is that? What time is it?
They keep going to like 2 a.m.
Yeah. So I discovered, didn't know it was a thing. But it's like, if it's something that you want, we have to get away from the excuses. Like, you have to find the time. You have to make whatever it is. And so there's a one whole section that I'm like, what are the reasons why you think you can't achieve your dream? What are those things? And then come up with a solution to overcome that. What is it? Is it time? Is it money? If it's money, I mean, and these are things that affect everybody. And everybody has to obviously take it in a way that works for them. But if it's money, are you going to go get a second and third job? Are you going to figure out a way to get residual income? What is it that you are going to do? Because the difference between the people who are doing it and the people who aren't are just taking action and not living in the excuses. I'm not saying that the excuses aren't valid. Being a single mom is no joke. Losing, sorry. Losing my boyfriend to cancer is no joke. But I'm not going to allow that to keep me from getting to wherever it is I need to be. It's just one step, it's one thing, great. I'm going to mourn, then I'm going to pull up my bootstrings and get after it. Because, and it's one of the, when I did lose him, one of the things they were like, Nicole, stop crying. He wouldn't want you to be crying over him. Like, yes, but he didn't lose himself. I lost him, you know. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? There's many single parents out there getting it done. There's many people who have lost people who are getting it done. So it's really just a matter of how bad do you want it. So I'm just like, if you don't want it, it's okay. But just be honest with yourself. Because I did this with my mom, and she was like, oh, well, I want to start this business. And then I was like, well, why don't you just do this or this? Well, you know, because I need somebody to help me with this, and I don't think somebody would help me at no cost. And I was like, Mom, you've sewed into so many other people's businesses, helping them at no cost. What makes you think that if you don't step and take that first step, that they're not going to come back to help you? You get back what you put out. But what do you want? I can't stand excuses. I'd rather you just tell me I don't really want it that bad. And I'm like, cool, I respect that. But don't let me help you offer solutions, and then you keep saying, but, because that just lets me know you don't really want it. And it's okay. It's okay to not really want it. But be honest with yourself. But if you do want it, I'm going to help you get there. And I'm passionate about that. And I'm going to bring it back. Like, drop right.
Drop the mic and she walked away. There's really nothing to say after that. Does anybody have any questions again for our beautiful guests of honor over here?
Not all
Come
at once.
on. I'm not buying it. Somebody's got a question. Yes.
What would you say is like one of your examples of when you had to exhibit extraordinary courage?
Okay, so the question was, what was an example of a time when I had to exhibit extraordinary courage? I would say when Peter died, that would have to be one of the most important times that I had to exhibit that courage, because you have to understand, like, I waited like 41 years to meet him, and then I met him, and then he died. So I'm just like, is this ever going to happen for me ever again? I'm going to just give up on life, like whatever, what's the meaning of life? Why did this person come into my life, and all these kinds of things. But having to pick myself up after that, and that was definitely one of the hardest ones, because I'd say it took about 3 to 6 months to even just be able to think about trying to go after anything. And actually his passing is what encouraged me to be like, what am I doing with my life? Because anybody who knows Peter, he touched so many people's lives. And I was like, am I going to have that type of impact when I pass? Am I impacting people like that? And at that time, the answer was no. The only person who I'm impacting like that right now is probably my daughter, which is great. That's a great thing. But I wanted to do more. And my daughter has inspired me because and the biggest thing with that is it's important for me to never give up, because I'm an example to her. I need her to see that you're gonna have challenges. Life is not gonna be easy. I was a single mom from the time, well, not from the time that she was born, but very much after. And then, you know, her father died in an accident. And it was me and her against the world. And people don't give you handouts just because you're a single parent. They'll be like, oh, I'm sorry, it really sucks. But good luck with that. They might, you know, throw you a crumb here or there, but just because you're a single parent, people aren't going to just have pity on you and just give you $1 million. They're like, they got their own problems. We all do. But I would say that to answer your question, sorry, that overcoming that and having to find purpose in life after such an impactful death was the thing that I had to exhibit the courage the most.
I'd like to be very clear.
Yes.
You are impacting a lot of people's lives. Let's just be very clear. Let's be clear about that. Let's go back to your book and let's not short sell ourselves here. She also tried out for another team right after Peter passed, didn't
Yes,
you?
yes.
So I mean, when you ask about facing courage, like to put on booty shorts and a crop top and have to go in there and be judged by a bunch of people who have no idea what you're going through, that sounds pretty brave to me, girl. So, like I said, I think that Game Day Prep 365 is going to be fantastic. I know from our Facebook Live family over here, are there any questions over there?
If there's
Are we
any
good?
questions, type them into the comments and we'll field them out. We'll field them if anybody has any.
Oh, wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, we're friends. So you've been there for me as I've been writing my book and through a lot of other things as well. But if somebody writes into you on, you know, Game Day Prep, what kind of support will you give them individually? Will you support those people individually as well?
If they want it, absolutely.
What
It
kind of
could be-
support will you give?
So it would be, we could sit down and have a conversation. So let me clarify, because I get this question a lot. I am not a life coach. Number one, I am not a life coach. I'm not here to help you figure out your life. If you have a goal, I can help you achieve it. So if you have an idea of what you want and where you're trying to go, I will sit down. We can go through the workbook with you and help you to identify, because sometimes you might have all the challenges, but you may not have the solutions. We can sit down, talk through it, go through it. I also have a private Facebook page where we can kind of, as a community, help each other out. Post in there, this is what I did today, this is how I got there. So, because some people may not necessarily want that one-on-one, they just need a support system to chime in. That's another option. I will do the best that I can. I can come out and speak to groups. I can come out and do the workbook aspect as a group, like with youth groups and cheerleading teams and parents, single parents. Single parents obviously are dear to my heart because I'm just like, I want us to like, ooh, you know, like we got this. But whatever that support is if it's me coming to you, if it's a conversation, if it's a weekly touch point, whatever it is, we'll have a discussion and make it happen, make it work.
You know what's really great about this book, and again, I can't stress this enough for you guys reading, it's so applicable to everyday life. So many of us have gone through the challenges that Nicole have gone through, or will go through things similar to that which you've gone through. And I think sometimes we go through it by ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Like thinking, oh, nobody's ever been down this path before. Nobody's ever had their heart broken the way that I have. Nobody's ever lost the love of their life. And it's not that we think that we're singular in it. It's just we don't maybe know somebody,
Right.
or we're not in that space where we want to open up about it. And then when somebody puts it all on the line, puts it in a book for you, you automatically have a connection with that person, and you automatically feel like you're not in this journey alone. And I think that that's such an important thing to take away. And again, then to know if you're here in South Florida, right? She's here. She's here and she's accessible. And again, that's what I think GameDay365.com is all about, and info at GameDay365.com is all about. And again, it's so much bigger than just cheer. It really is a great tool just for life, for whatever point you're at. Again, like I said, I think there's a few more books in there because dealing with the loss of the love of your life, I can't even fathom that. It's hard enough to deal with a breakup, and that person is still here. You know what I mean? Like you could punch them in the face at any given time. Never mind if they were not, you know.
Right.
Sorry, was that a little aggressive? I'm sorry. I have no idea where that came from at all. But no, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, so that's one thing. Again, the whole single parent aspect of it. I think that you have so many women out there, so many men. I know a lot of
Men, right.
amazing fathers that you sacrifice so much, and it really is about having that stability, right? Like, I can't pursue my dreams because I've got to make sure that this little person that I brought into the world is taken care of first. And then you have a person like Nicole that's like, stop making the excuses. Don't blame your child for not going after the things you want most in this life. And that's essentially what we're doing. You know, you're not resenting your kid, but you're basically saying, no, mommy or daddy can't do this because I have to take care of you. And what Nicola said is, no, you can take care of your child, you can put them first, and then you can make sure that you get up 2 hours before they get up to go get a run in. Or you can stay up and figure out that Conan O'Brien is still on television because you didn't know that because you were going to sleep at 10 o'clock at night. And he's on at like 1:30 in the morning. So again, you make time for the things that are important to you. And as cliche as that sounds, when you see somebody that really has put it into action the way that you have, Nicole, it makes you kind of reevaluate the things that you're making excuses for in your life. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Again, a round of applause for Nicole. I know you're going to sign. Are there any other questions before we get to the signing part of this?
Any questions? Anything?
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
I met Nicole just when she lost me at a dinner here, and I didn't know her. And I had lost my husband, and I had written a book on grief. And she was really, really sad and upset, and I felt at one with her. I know how difficult it was. But something listening to her and seeing her today, I haven't seen her for a year, I can't help but think that grief that took her deep, deep into her heart. I mean, she traveled to places a lot of people never go to. And seeing her today, it's as if she was reborn, and she took that energy and that love that Peter gave her, and it just came bubbling to the surface. And I think that's another thing that you can teach people, that grief, that loss can generate tremendous energy, and you can help people, and people can learn from you. So well done, Ivan.
Is there a question over there? Yeah.
There's a question? Oh, we have a question from Facebook Live. What? It works.
Patricia Smith is asking, what was your greatest challenge faced in keeping the timeline and writing the book?
Oh, the greatest challenge in timeline and staying on task with the book was sleep, because I would stay up so late to get it done, and then I would wake up early to make sure, because I didn't want my first job to suffer. I wanted to make sure that that didn't suffer. That was the biggest thing, is learning how to balance, because I'm the type of person, I'll go gung-ho 100% straight into something, and then I'll leave everything else. Like, I won't eat for 3 days, I won't do anything. But then it all started to catch up to me, and then I wouldn't be able to be as productive when I was supposed to be writing. I would forget things, I would do other things. So I had to learn to be like, if a goal, a desired goal on writing the book had to change, it's okay. You know, that's why it's a timeline. It's not stuck in hard, cement. It is a guideline. So I had to learn to make sure I slept. I had to learn to make sure I still get up and did my workout, and then set aside the time to continue to write the book and do what I was supposed to do. Because that was definitely one of the greatest challenges, was managing that balance, because it was definitely out of whack, and I was always tired.
We have another question.
Another question. Woo, yeah.
Tony wants to know when's the next book coming out.
Yes!
That's
Good
like-
answer. The
no.
question, Tony.
That's like asking,
What's it about?
or that's like asking somebody who just gave birth, when's the next child? I'm like, oh my God, like, I haven't even, I have no idea. I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't answer that.
Tony's just co-signing the fact that there are more books to be written. Nicole, let me just tell you, we will all be waiting.
Yay,
So
me
maybe
too.
we'll reserve. Well, that'll help with your, your goals. We'll set a timeline for like 2 years. We can all meet back here at Books and Books at this same table, and we'll be talking about the next book. Anything else from over here?
Well, Dee just wants to let you know that you inspire him and keep pushing. Thank you, Nicole.
Aw, thank you. Yay.
Thank you,
Just
Dee.
to be able to do that, inspire one person to get up and do one thing, that's just another dream of mine to come true. So thank you. And thank you. Look at this beautiful crowd of people that are here. Thank you all so much for coming. It means the world to me. You have no idea. Game on.
There you go. And with that said, make sure you get your copy. Nicole is going to sign books, spread the word, put it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that, please.
All of that, yes,
And of
ma'am.
course, it is GameDayPrep365.com. They can email info@GameDayPrep365.com.
Yes.
For more. So again, another round of applause for our guest. Stand up and take a bow.
Thank you. So, Books and Books is really gracious. If you guys want to buy the book, they have them over there. You can buy your copy. Oh, thank you. And then I'll sign it if you want. I'll be more than happy to. So, thank you all so much for coming. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. Yay!